Good morning. Dara's at school. I've been down and paid the builders down the road. They're doing things like replacing the radiator control valves because they're crap and they keep snapping off. Put some shelves up and just general stuff that I can't do because I have no idea how to use the drill and rule plugs and all that kind of crappy thing. My mum's got her second COVID jab today, slap bang in the middle of the day. I don't know whether I'm taking her or not because Callie might be going home today, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen. She's baby had a little twitching fit last night, so they're sort of wanting to monitor that. So it may be that they don't let her home until later on today, which of course I've got to pick Daryl up at 2:30, so it's a bit of a palaver. So I'm sort of, we're waiting, you know, so I think it is going to be that I'll be able to take Mum for her jab. And then, yeah, well, hopefully I'll get to see Callie and the baby today, but I might have to wait, which is a bit shit, but there's not really much I can do about it. Yeah, he's a little bit jaundiced as well, and he's been a bit of a pickle about feeding apparently. So, you know, she's had to have some help, but he's had a couple of good feeds this morning, so hopefully that'll be the end of it, and she can go home. It's frustrating because I can't see her. I can't see her or him until they go home because of the bloody COVID restrictions. I mean, I know why they're there, and I fully support why they're there. But of course, that's my turn. I don't support them at all. So I'm going to go home and do a bit of admin work, and yeah, we'll go from there. Bit bummed. My Sport Loop Apple Watch wrist thing didn't come, so still got to wear this one. I was hoping it would arrive today. I guess the guy makes them to order or something because I ordered it like a week ago, and he said like delivery wouldn't be until this week. I was hoping it would be today, but it hasn't. So now I've got to go and pick up my mother and take her for her COVID jab. Meow. She sleeps on my flowers. She pisses me off. Yeah, you're not going in now. I've locked the door. No, I've locked the door. Yeah. What? What? What do you want? I've locked the door now. You're not going in now. No, because you're not staying in the house while I go out. She's like, well, fuck you then. This is what she does. She likes to roll around on the floor and get you to tickle her tummy. Thankfully, it's not a trap, and she does actually love having her tummy rubbed. Go on then, lie down. There you go. Stupid animal. Look at that, look at that fucking floozy, look at it. Trouble is, she rolls further and further away, and I can't walk forward when I'm bent down like that. Look at it. What a hole. So, like, last night, sleeping, this is what my sleeping is like. I sat watching the wrestling. I love wrestling, and I dozed off while watching it, which was a bit shit. I was a bit annoyed. And then I thought, well, this is fucking stupid. I'm obviously tired. I need to go to bed. So, shut up. So I went to bed at 10 to 10. 10 to 10 I went to bed. I was asleep according to my watch by 10 past 10. I didn't move again all night long until about, what, 6, half 6 I think it was, and I needed a loo. And then you lie there and you go, well, I'm getting up in half an hour. Can I just wait that extra half an hour or even 20 minutes? Which is stupid, because if I just got up and went back to the loo, I could go back to bed and actually go to sleep for 20 minutes instead of wasting that half hour of sleep. But yeah, it's just... And how do I feel this morning? Lights green, love, come on. I feel like shit. I'm tired. My face feels puffy and swollen. I just want to go to bed. I just want to go to bed and sleep. I've got to take my mum for a fucking jab and then home again. And it's shit. And I'm tired and I don't want to do it. So, oh, I wonder if I can get in there. Probably not. I haven't tried to reverse park this yet. Or parallel park as we call it here in England. You know, into a space. Ugh. I haven't tried to do that yet. There's no fucking parking up around my mother's house. I'm going to park at my sister's spot. My sister has like a private spot, but she's at work, so that's fine. I can still have space. Just while I get my mum. So yeah, I just feel tired and crappy again. You know, chances are I'm not going to see Callie and the baby today. Or Callie, Rob and the baby. And that's depressing, really. It's depressing me a little bit because I really, really, really wanted to see them today. But it looks like they're going to be in hospital for a little bit longer, which sucks. Big style. That's how quick it is to get from mine to my mum's. Walking it is like 5 minutes, if that. So I once stood in my back garden and I could hear my mum's fire alarm going off. My mum's got a fire alarm because it's where we rent rooms out of it. We had to have one installed as part of our business license. And I was at home and I was like, I can hear a shop alarm. I thought it was a shop alarm. Turned out it was our fire alarm. Then she phoned me up. She went, we can't turn the fire alarm off. Can you come down and turn the fire alarm off? I was like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm on my way. It's insane. So this is the room, all finished, shelves are up. Bought that chair for 20 quid the other day. That chair's not staying here, I've got a chest of drawers yet to go in here. That mirror's just been fitted, it's a bit low. I'd have put it a bit higher than that, Christ, I'm only 5'2". And my head disappears out the top of it. Yeah, I'd have put that a bit higher myself, but there we go. Single bed, so it's a nice big room for a single occupant, you know, really happy with how it looks. So yeah, now we just got to get a tenant in there. My sister came home, she's pissed off because I parked in her space. It used to be my space. She seems to forget that, so yeah. Never mind. I'll take my mother for a vaccine and then we're going to go to B&Q because there's a burger van in the car park. It's too cold to sit outside for my mum at the moment, but we're both dying to get out and have a nom. So she said, oh, let's go to B&Q, we'll go to the burger van. Oh yes, I love the burger van. It's delish. So they're not coming home today. Something's going on, they're not quite sure what, because Nathaniel did this little like jerk type thing. Now my eldest did that and it turned out that his blood sugar had dropped, which is funny enough exactly what I said to Callie this morning. So they have confirmed he has low blood sugar. They're also worried that he might have an infection, so they're going to keep him in and give him a course of antibiotics just to you know, counteract any possible infection. Oops. Stand up. But it looks like she's going to be there until Wednesday at the least. So my heart aches for her because she's terrified. I know she is. She won't speak to me. Rob's the one relaying all the info because I know if she speaks to me, she's going to cry. And I can't do anything because I can't even go and give her a hug because I'm not allowed on the ward. I've got a pounding headache. So I keep rushing him off and doing tests on him. They did take him back to her for a feed, which I think is brilliant because when Kyle was in, they didn't call me down for feeds. They didn't wake me up. And I remember being livid when I woke up the next morning to find out that I'd slept all night long and nobody had wakened me and taken to go down and feed him. They have taken baby back to her for food, so that's something. I thank God she's got Rob with her. I was on my own. You know, Kyle did this sort of juttering thing and the midwife took him off for a test. And that was it. He spent 5 days down in special care. I had to go down to him and I was kept up on the ward, which pissed me right off because there is a parents' room down there. But they didn't move me down there. I only found this out sort of years later. They didn't move me down there. So I had to sit up on the ward with all these other mums and their babies and keep going downstairs to special care. And like I say, that first night, they didn't wake me up to feed him. And I went absolutely fucking spare. Really lost my shit the next morning. And, oh, well, we thought you'd like a night's sleep. And I was like, no, I want to be with my baby. Do you know what I mean? I was livid. So, yeah. I don't really know what to say. I'm a bit sort of like, now. I was really, really looking forward to seeing them all today. And now we're sort of like, we're all worried now as to what's going on, what's happening. In other news, I've bought a toy box for Daryl. Nice big toy chest type thing. So hopefully that'll make things a little bit better in his room because his room's a mess. It's a small room, that's half the trouble. And it's already got a bookshelf, chest of drawers and his little table in. I might ditch the table. I might get rid of it because I don't think he needs it up there. I might get rid of it. And you can just have his toy chest then. I also bought a really teeny tiny slow cooker, which is cool. It's like a one person slow cooker type deal for £2 in a charity shop. I did look, but they didn't have any scrapbooking stuff. But this was one of the big ones. You know, they sort of sell like furniture. So I might go into town tomorrow and see what I can get in town because I need a few bits as well. We also got a chair for the other bedroom and a headboard, one headboard. So we need another headboard for the other room. They want to keep her up with feeding. Only just told us how frequent she should be breastfeeding. We assume 3 to 4, but it's like 2 to 3. He did the Twitch thing again and managed to catch it on video for other doctors to see rather than explaining it. I always fed every 4. But that's what mine all demanded, so she's going to be feeling guilty now. She can feel like that's her fault. I wish I could talk to her. Good morning, everybody. Okay, so Nathaniel update. Oh, my camera's flaring. He has been taken to Southampton General. All we know at the moment is that there seems to be an infection which is causing him to have seizures. But due to the fact that his mum had neonatal epilepsy, they have taken him to Southampton to scan him so that they can be sure it is an infection, kind of thing. Apparently our hospital does not have the machinery to do this. So they took him over yesterday. He was on the 7:30 p.m. ferry. For those of you that don't know, I live on the Isle of Wight in the UK. And you have to get a ferry to get off, which is shit, quite frankly. And due to COVID, the ambulance service is not allowed to transport mum and dad as well. Even the paramedics thought that was dumb. They said to me, unfortunately, mum and dad have to make their own way across. And I was like, pardon? And he said, yeah, he said, we don't agree with it either. And I was like, but that baby is like 2 days old and she's breastfeeding mum. And they were like, yeah, we know, but, I was like, oh my God. And we still had to wait for her to be discharged because she was still under maternity. So they rushed off with him at about 7 p.m. from the hospital, blue lighted it to the ferry to make sure they could catch the ferry. Then she was discharged about 10-15 minutes later, thankfully. So we headed back to hers. She was in the car with me. He was in his car, in their car. We were going to go back, let them repack their bags, get fresh clothing and all of that lot. And then I was going to take them to the ferry and they could get a cab on the other side. So just before we got there, she got a phone call. And I couldn't hear all of it, but I could hear the woman saying, that she was the transport team coordinator and all this lot. And it turned out that the hospital in Southampton had specifically told our hospital that there was not a room for mum and dad. And at that point, things got quite garbled, and Callie came off the phone and broke down on me and said that they'd told her that when she arrived, she would be swabbed and then wouldn't be allowed to see the baby for 24 hours until they had the results in. So going on the basis that they all seemed to think it was an infection, should she go? And she said that sounded really horrible and, she didn't know whether to go or not, if she couldn't see him for 24 hours and all of that. So we sort of talked about it and I said, look, if that's the case, you may as well go to bed now and go in the morning. It's only going to be about a few more hours. They couldn't even accept the swabs from St Mary's. She had to go and have new swabs at the hospital because obviously the possible contamination on the ferry. So the woman phoned back about, 9:30, I think it was, by which point all the passenger ferries to the mainland had stopped for the night. 9:30, ridiculous, isn't it? So there's only the car ferry. Car ferry takes an hour, and that is on a very, very limited service overnight. There was one at 10:30, and then the next one wasn't until 1:30. By the time she phoned back, I'd managed to get them both sit down eating something. I spoke to her because the kids were like, could you please talk to her? So I said, yeah, that's fine. So I spoke to her and they were like, good news, we've managed to get a room. That was the other thing they said. They didn't know they could put mum on the ward, but they wouldn't have room, might not possibly have a room for the dad. So she's freaking out because she doesn't want to be in a hospital that she doesn't know and not being allowed to see her baby anyway. That's because that's what she thought. Without having her husband with her. She didn't want to go for it on her own. So they phoned back. So I talked to her. She said, good news, we've got a room for mum and dad. So I was like, right, okay. And I was like, what's this about a 24-hour? And she went, oh, God, no. She said, is that what she thinks? And I said, yeah. I said, I've got them both in fits here. And she said, no. She said, what that is tonight they will be put up in a unit in the hospital, 2 corridors away from where Nathaniel is. He's in special care. So I was like, right. And she said, then afterwards they will go into what's called the Ronald McDonald Charity House, and it's paid for by McDonald's. And it's a bit like a hotel for parents of children who are in the hospital. She said that's what they need the swab for. She said they will get a quick swab when they arrive here, and we're happy with that. But Ronald McDonald needs a 24-hour, the big one, for them to go in there. Right, okay, fine. All right then. So she can come and she can see her baby straight away. She's got 24 hours access to the baby. Brilliant. Okay, so I got off the phone with her, said to them, finish your food, go and have a shower, both of you, and then go and have a nap. And they sort of both looked at me. I was like,
We can't get the 10:30 ferry. There's no way we'll make it. No way. And I'm not breaking my neck driving on roads to try and get you on the 10:30. So they were like, okay, that's sensible. So bless them, they both had a shower and they both conked out for about an hour. I even had a little sort of 10-minute snooze on the sofa. Yeah, 1:30 ferry. So they didn't get to Southampton until 2:30. Then, that was the other thing. We get to the ferry and she said, the ferry terminal's shut. How do I get a ticket? And I was like, there's a automatic machine inside. I gave her some money. I said, look, there you go. There's enough money to get you there, and get you some food for tomorrow and that. So she's like, right, okay. So I said, love you loads, give him a kiss from Nanny, and, I drove off. I get 5 seconds up the road and she's phoning back. She went, the machine won't accept the new £20 notes. I said, what? The machine doesn't accept the new £20 notes. The new £20 notes have been in circulation since February 2020. Now, I know the old ones are still legal tender, but they're not in circulation. Every time an old £20 note ends up at the bank keep it and destroy it. So why the fuck isn't a machine that issues tickets for our transport off the fucking island accepting the new £20 notes? It just beggars belief. So yeah, they didn't. I had to go back and pay for that on my card. £40 for 2 foot passengers on a fucking ferry. 40 fucking quid. I couldn't believe that. So yeah, they I don't know what time they arrived. I came home, passed out. I spent the day yesterday fighting a fucking migraine. We're all exhausted. I'm not uploading this until I know he's okay, because we don't know yet what's wrong with him. I think they've given him some phenobarbital, which is what they gave her on her first night. So she's like, he's really sleepy, he won't wake up. And I said, that's perfectly normal. It's to help relax the brain. It kind of like dulls. For those that don't know, it's like a big sedative. And the idea is that it will relax him enough so that the seizures stop, or at least reduce enough that it shouldn't do any damage. I saw him. I got there before the ambulance did to the hospital yesterday. And I stood right by the door so I could see him when they brought him out. And the nurse knew that I was there. And as they got to the door, she said, come in and quickly see him. And I was like, oh my God. And I went running in. I wasn't allowed to touch him. He was in an incubator. But he's gorgeous. He's absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful child. They've got a feed into his arm. He's got a little splint on because he keeps bending his arm and knocking it out. And they had him stripped down into a nappy. And he was on the blanket that I made for him. He's so beautiful. He looks like Daryl. He's gorgeous. I really hope he's going to be alright. It's terrifying. And I just wish I still lived in Romsey. I really wish I still lived in Romsey. I would be camping outside the hospital all day long, so that I could at least be there for them both. This is terrifying. They don't tell you anything unless you ask, It's like when the ambulance turned up, the nurse is going, oh yeah, baby's had this, and this. And Callie went, excuse me? They'd been giving him medication and we didn't even know what he'd had. Surely that's not allowed. I don't know. Glad they've both slept, and I'm glad I got them both to eat last night, even though Rob was sick afterwards, because he went into hyper mode and he waffed his down. In the end, I said to him, for God's sake, I said, sit down, drink, have a drink. Calm down. And then he went and got in the shower, and I think he had it a bit hot, and just being hyped up and waffling his food, and he was a little bit sick. Not all of it, thankfully, so he did have some benefit of it. But I'm glad they both had a nap as well. And she said they slept for a couple of hours, or she slept. Rob's still asleep. It's so shit. I gave them £100 yesterday, and they blew through half of it just getting to the hospital. I know they can claim it back, but they've got nothing with them, so they're going to have to claim it back after the fact instead of directly from the hospital. I don't even know if you can still claim it from the hospital. So I'm probably going to have to send her some more money at some point so that they can fucking eat if he ends up staying there for a few days. It would be lovely if they phoned me up and say he's come back tonight, even if he's just coming back to St Mary's, back here on the island. Then, you know, if they're sure it's an infection, he'll be back on the island tonight, hopefully, or tomorrow. This is horrible. I can't do anything. I'm at the end of the fucking internet. And all I could do yesterday was hold my daughter. Well, she cried and told me that she wanted a baby. It's horrible because I can't do anything. I can't fix it. There's a horrible moment when your children grow up and they suddenly realise that you're not God and you can't fix everything. And it's a bit horrible, really, when they realise that you're infallible, you know? And it usually happens at quite a youngish age. You know, they sort of start to realise about 8, 9, I think, when they realise actually mum and dad can't do everything, can't fix everything, you know. But it's horrible when, as a parent, I can't I can't make it better for her and him. I could just sit here and talk to her. Which I know is like a huge amount because, you know, when my eldest was in hospital, he had low blood sugar. So else Nathaniel's got his low blood sugar. When he had low blood sugar, and they took him off dad's special care. I was 16. We didn't have the internet, you know. I didn't even have a mobile phone, and I was in hospital on my own. My partner and my mum could only come for visiting hours, which is a couple of hours, you know, all day and all night, and I'm there on my own. And they took him off to special care, so I didn't even have him with me. I was upstairs on the ward, you know, and it was horrible. And they don't tell you anything, you know. It's like I'm pretty sure they're topping Nathaniel up with formula because she hadn't fed him since yesterday afternoon. She's pumping, so I said to her, "Go and give it to them. Don't wait for them to ask for it. Actually, go and give it to them. Just hope they use it." I said, "At least if you're pumping, you're keeping your milk there and regular, so that when it is better, we could go through the relactation process." Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I'm exhausted. I'm starving as well, which I hope means it's the end of my migraine, because I spent the day yesterday fighting with it, and I literally ate a burger and that was it. And I've still got the headache, but I'm quite hungry, so I'm going to go grab something to eat. And I think I'm just going to sit and watch mindless crap on the TV today. I'm watching a YouTube video at the moment, and then I think I've got SmackDown and Raw to watch. Yay, that'll keep me quiet. Until I pick up Daryl, really, which is good. Awesome. So, yeah, if you're wondering, A, why the fuck is this such a long video, and B, why am I telling you about something that quite possibly happened a few days ago, depending on when I get around to uploading this. I didn't want to upload it until we knew a little bit more. I don't know, I might upload it, I'm not sure. They haven't said anything online, which is why I'm a bit about uploading it, because obviously I don't want to overstep. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just bear with me, guys, okay? Okay, what do we know? They seem 95% sure that it's an infection. He has had a couple of little seizures today. They've been doing a subdermal EEG on him, which is like tiny little electrodes just under the skin. He's doped out on phenobarbital and other medication that they've been giving him, and they've now inserted a nasal tube, she says, because apparently whenever they try and wake him up, he just goes fucking ape shit and then refuses to do anything because he's wound himself up. Typical. Let's have a look. Yeah, she sent me a photo of him like cuddled up with his blanket. It's really sweet. He's still loving the blanket. Apparently, it's the only thing that calms him down is being swaddled in it, which is awesome. I call it my nanny's cuddle for him. Yeah, they were giving him like little cups of her breast milk and that, but like I said, whenever they wake him up, he gets really, really pissed off. So I don't know whether the seizures themselves are making him a bit dopey or whether it's the medication. She's expressing and she's doing quite well. She filled a 50ml pot earlier, and they said that was, just the right amount for him. But she said, if they don't have any of her milk to hand, then they can top up the formula. She's just going to keep pumping every few hours to increase her supply. She just wants to go home, really. 1 minute they were like, yeah, you can go home tomorrow. And then an hour later they were like, oh, it's going to be a couple of days. So every time we sort of like, yay, coming home. Then, yeah, because they told her at 4:20, they said he's been asleep all day, just hope he doesn't have any more seizures. They say it's an infection and we can go home tomorrow. And I was like, wow, they've still got him doped up, but they want to send him home. And then literally like 4:38, he had another one at the end of the EEG. They picked it up. I don't know, I think it was wishful thinking, really, because now they're saying 48 hours of antibiotics. And I said, well, technically he's had that because he started having them like the morning that they took him over in the ambulance, yesterday. So by tomorrow he will have had 48 hours of antibiotics. He's going to have an MRI apparently in the next 48 hours. And they're tweaking his meds to something they're hoping will stop the seizures as well as wake him up, because he's quite dopey and sleepy. They said that they don't want to wake him for a feed. And I was like, why don't they, wouldn't, but he needs food. She said, I don't know. She said she isn't sure why. They mentioned he'd had colostrum, but they've given him some sugar water too. And then she started to wonder if there's something wrong with her milk. And I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with your milk. You know, and then she found out they'd been given him colostrum and sugar water as well. And I said, well, that would be to give him some energy and hopefully wake him up a little bit. They mentioned cup feeding to her. They said if it could be treated on the island, that hopefully he'll be transferred back. Obviously, he's got to have this MRI. Yeah, then they won't wake him for feeds because he's inconsolable and won't take it. So they said if he doesn't wake for feeds on his own, they'll do a nose tube. Both her and Rob tried to wake him, but he wouldn't have it. They're being moved to the Ronald McDonald Charity House tonight. They've told her that he's unresponsive, basically, due to the meds, which is so shit because, you know, when he was born, he was so awake and so alert. And they've given him a feeding tube. They've said the new meds should stop him being so dopey. Yeah. So she's going to feed throughout the night, or she's going to pump throughout the night and take a load over for him tomorrow. I think they've got some for tonight. She's under care of the midwives now. They decided to put her back basically under the care of the hospital, so they're still doing her obs and that. She said her boobs feel really solid now, that's a really good sign. She sounds a lot more cheerful. She keeps referring to someone called She, which I assume is the doctor or the nurse. She's hoping to have him on full feeds the next day or so because he's doing half and half with fluids. Once she's got him on full feeds and they can get the subdermal probes out, she can start breastfeeding him again. And she's, even though like his latch was a bit off, and she's got like a little scab on one of her boobs. Even though I've got all that, I've really missed, you know, I only did it for a day and I've already got that bond. So, you know, yeah, they said if they can get the tube out, they'll cup feed, because if they cup feed, he's more likely to latch on. If you give them bottles, they get lazy because the bottles are easy. So they're still hoping to cup feed and then get her relactating, go through the relactation process once he's a little bit more aware. So, yeah, we don't know when they're coming home, basically. I'm on standby because they didn't take their car because they don't know the area. They didn't know where they'd be able to park or anything like that. So I drove them to the ferry and they took a cab on the other side to the hospital because it's a 10-minute drive. So, yeah. And the dumb thing is when he's discharged from the hospital, he'll be sent back to our hospital, and then they've got to do the whole thing in reverse. So they will again have to catch a cab to the ferry, come back over on the ferry. Thankfully, they've already got a ticket, and then I'll have to pick them up. And I'll have to take them home so they can get their car, so they can go back to the hospital and have their car there for when they leave the hospital. If I had Boris Johnson's phone number, I would be phoning him up and saying to him, why did you put this in place? That a mother, a breastfeeding mother, was not allowed to accompany her newborn child when he was changed to another hospital, and she ended up spending 7 hours away from him because the ferry service here is crap, and, you know, that's diabolical in my view. Absolutely diabolical. I was supposed to nap and go to bed early. I was planning on being in bed at 8:30, and I ended up just sitting and like glaring at the snooker, really. I had Chinese. I'm tired, but I don't feel as exhausted as I did this morning. But But I am ready to go to bed, I think. I'm going to set this to exporting, but I probably won't upload it until the morning. So yeah, they seem, the percentage on how sure they are that it's an infection is going up and up and up every hour, it seems. It feels like they're only doing all of the EEGs and the MRIs and all of that lot because of her history, because Callie had neonatal epilepsy. And the reason she had it was because she'd had edema in her brain. She was born with a cord around her neck, and it caused slight oxygen deprivation, which caused her brain to swell slightly, and that's what caused her seizures, and it caused her epilepsy. But she grew out of it we were discharged from neurology before she was a year old, and she hadn't had a grand mal seizure since she was about 4 months old, but because of her history, I think they're wanting to make doubly sure that this is not an epileptic or other neurological condition. Oh, excuse me. But they seem to be about 98% certain now that it is an infection. Because I know he was running a temperature, and I don't know whether the bloods have come back yet. I haven't asked her. She's been quite quiet, so I don't know whether she's asleep. So hopefully I will know some more tomorrow for you guys. Yeah. So thank you. Keep fingers crossed, guys, yeah? Those of you that believe in the power of prayer, that would be lovely about now. Those of you that don't, well, cross your fingers and your legs, yeah? And we'll go from there. I'll speak to you later. No.